There is a prison you've been living in, and the worst part is that you don't even realize you built it. A prison with no guards, no chains, no locked gates. Just invisible walls made of thoughts you never questioned, fears you never confronted, and beliefs you never chose, but accepted. Most people spend their entire lives inside this mental cell, decorating the walls and calling it who I am. But today, I want to ask you a dangerous question, the kind that cracks the foundation of everything you think you know. What if the limits you believe about yourself were never yours to begin with? Let's slow down for a moment. Take a breath. Feel the weight behind your ribs, that quiet pressure you carry around. You know it well. It's the echo of a truth you've been avoiding. Because deep down, under all the distractions, you know you're not living the life you were meant to live. Not because you're incapable, not because you lack talent, but because somewhere along the way, you were taught to shrink, to keep your voice low, to keep your desires small, to keep your dreams reasonable, to keep your truth hidden, because the world around you didn't know what to do with it. Plato once wrote that most people never see reality as it truly is. They mistake shadows for truth and call their chains normal. You've been doing this too, even if you won't admit it out loud. Every time you say, I could never do that, or that's just who I am, or I'm not ready yet, you tighten the bars around you. You lock yourself in. You choose the cage over the unknown. But here's the uncomfortable reality. Your life is not limited by what you can do. It's limited by what you believe you deserve. And most people believe they deserve far less than they're capable of holding. Not because they're weak, but because someone, a parent, a teacher, a friend, a failure, convinced them, quietly, subtly, that they shouldn't want too much. Wanting too much makes people uncomfortable. It breaks the social contract of modest suffering. But here's a secret they never told you. You're allowed to want more than survival. You're allowed to want a life that feels like your own. But wanting it isn't enough, because desire means nothing without freedom. And freedom begins with a brutally honest realization. You are the jailer and the prisoner and the one holding the key. Let's talk about how this prison is built. It starts with fear, not the dramatic kind, the subtle, quiet, socially acceptable kind. Fear of being judged, fear of disappointing people, fear of failing publicly, fear of succeeding privately and having no one to share it with, fear of changing so much that your old world no longer recognizes you. Your brain whispers, stay here, stay safe, don't risk discomfort. But Nietzsche warned us long ago, the snake that cannot shed its skin must die. Not literally, but spiritually. You're not meant to stay the same. You're not meant to keep repeating the same tired patterns, hoping they'll somehow lead to a different life. You're meant to evolve, and evolution always requires destruction. The destruction of old identities, old stories, old excuses, old versions of you that once felt protective but now feel suffocating. Think of a time in your life when you felt fully alive. It wasn't when things were easy. It wasn't when you were most comfortable. It was when you were taking a risk, big or small, that aligned with who you wanted to become. Aliveness is a symptom of authenticity, and discomfort is the cost of freedom. But here's the twist. Your prison doesn't just keep you stuck, it keeps you numb. You don't feel deeply because you've been surviving shallowly. You don't dream boldly because you've been thinking safely. You don't grow because you're loyal to the walls around you, loyal to the identity you outgrew, loyal to the beliefs you inherited, loyal to the story someone else wrote for you. You've been living as the version of yourself that made sense to a past environment, not the one required for your future. Machiavelli once wrote that people resist change not because they fear the new, but because they cling to the familiar. You don't fear transformation. You fear losing the person you were taught to be. But that person is not you. That's the ghost of your conditioning. You owe nothing to that ghost. So let me tell you a truth that might shake you. Your life could become unrecognizable in 5 years, but only if you stop being loyal to the person you no longer are. This is where most people get stuck. They want freedom but cling to their chains because they're warm. They want to change but protect their old beliefs because they feel like home. They want to grow but refuse to release the habits that keep them small. But the uncomfortable truth, the truth you've probably felt in your bones, is that nothing changes until you change. Not your circumstances, not your relationships, not your habits, not your future. You. You are the foundation of every outcome in your life. And once you understand that, you realize something liberating. You don't need permission to evolve. You just need honesty. Honesty about the fears you carry, honesty about the dreams you buried, honesty about the walls you built, honesty about the truth you keep avoiding. That you deserve a life bigger than the one you've accepted. You deserve depth. You deserve growth. You deserve meaning. You deserve to feel the sharp electricity of being alive again. Not someday, not when everything is perfect. Now. The prison door was never locked. It just required a moment of courage, a moment of clarity, a moment like this one. So if you felt something during this video, if something inside you woke up or stirred or whispered, "That's me," then don't ignore it. That whisper is your real self calling you out of the shadows, and all you have to do is answer. Not with a dramatic transformation, not with a sudden life overhaul, but with one simple decision. Stop living inside the limits you created to protect a person you no longer are. Walk out of the prison, even if your legs shake, even if the world beyond the walls feels foreign. Because that fear you feel, that's not danger. That's the sensation of stepping into your life. And if you keep going, if you keep choosing truth over comfort, authenticity over approval, freedom over familiarity, your future self will look back on this moment and whisper one thing: "Thank you for finally letting me out."